channel. Today's topic is going to be a series actually that I have been wanting to do for a long time. So today's first video of the healing series is called Starting the Journey Through Healing Your Past Wounds. There are quite a few different types of traumas and wounds that we all develop through our lifetimes. And each person's story is unique. Each person's experience through trauma, grief, loss, and pain and suffering is going to be completely different than the other person's. And your own healing journey is going to be unique to you. There will be similar ways to cope in healthy ways to be able to overcome your past wounds, your pain, and trauma. And these are the resources and tools and mindset shifts that I want to introduce to you through a series of videos, because everything I've learned in the last decade and more, honestly, I have learned from experiencing different pains, losses, deaths, and traumas. Not everyone wants to face their past trauma and their wounds and suffering and grief that they hold within them. And that is totally normal. That's okay, because there is a point in your life that you will need to face it in order to be able to heal and be able to live the life that you are called to. And I know this from my own experience because I tried to bury all my pain for many years, and it just manifested in deep illness. And I learned the hard way that when I bury my emotions, they are still alive. They aren't dead. They are still alive and breathing and able to pop out and be triggered at any moment. And this is unfortunate because I've made decisions in my past because of these unresolved past traumas, unresolved past pains, unresolved past wounds. And it honestly ended up hurting me. It ended up hurting other people, and it ended up changing my life in so many different ways, and even distracting me from my main purpose and my God calling. And that is something that is unfortunate that actually happens when you don't deal with your pain. And it is so vital to your health and to your calling and to the reason why you are here living right now, that you are able to deal with your past wounds. Because ultimately, when we live in our trauma or live in that fear or that grief or that anger or bitterness or resentment or guilt or shame, especially shame, it definitely influences the way we walk our lives, the way we decide things, the people that we bring into our lives, and it also influences patterns, toxic cycles, toxic belief systems that we have about ourselves, about the world. And it's not healthy, and it's definitely a blockage. It's a major blockage to someone actually healing their mind, body, and spirit in their life. And it's something that needs to be talked about. And I have done research, I have medical training, I have personal experience, I have many different types of resources and tools that I've used in my own life, and that's something I want to share with you. And I do also want to state I am still learning. I am still learning how to deal with my past wounds, my past traumas, and you know, it's not easy. It can be a lonely journey, and that is something that's a reason why one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video series about approaching your trauma, approaching your healing journey, because I don't want any of you to feel alone. Because I know during this year, especially with all the trauma and pain and loss that has happened, everyone is going through something. Everyone is having such pain inside of them. And I know this because I've talked to hundreds of people online this year. I've talked to many patients that I've had, and each person I've talked to has suffered from some type of loss, change, or identity shift, or just purpose shift. this year into 2020. And I just don't want any of you to feel alone, and I want to be able to contribute my healing tools and resources of everything that I've accumulated and learned the past over a decade of studying, of researching, of experiencing in the medical field, outside the medical field, in the spiritual world, outside of it, just everything with your mind, body, and spirit. So beginning your journey of healing your mind, body, and spirit is a tough one, and it's something that you want to reflect on internally right now. And this is something that you need to know, like, it's a huge step. Like, this is a huge dedication to yourself, your healing, and your life, and the outcome of your life. And it's not to be taken lightly, because when you go on a self-discovery journey, when you go on a purpose journey, when you go on a healing journey, it's all tied together, and it's pretty brutal. It's not easy, and it's very hard. And so I want to encourage you to really think about what you're currently going through, what you desire out of this healing journey, and what types of obstacles and griefs that you are holding in your mind and your heart currently. The next thing I want you to do before embarking on your healing journey is learning how to identify your emotions. And I'll go deeper into this in other videos, because who knew that us as humans don't really take the time to be mindful about what we're actually feeling, and we don't really take the time to be mindful about identifying what we're actually feeling. And that is increasing your emotional intelligence, socially, self-awareness, etc. So every person experiences the whole array of emotions, unless you are in a specific sector of personality disorders. But I'm talking to the general population right now, and this is basically a common thing that all of us endure: fear, shame, guilt, sadness, grief, loss. Fear is I think I already said fear, but fear is huge. Like, fear is basically the trunk of it all and the root of it all, and it just produces all these other emotions. And we feel these emotions plus many more emotions, and if we don't deal with these particular emotions, it starts to bury us alive in our lives. We feel stuck. We feel like something's missing. We turn to outside factors that try to numb the pain, try to ignore the pain, etc. And that's not healthy. And what you really need to be doing first before going on this healing journey is identifying which emotions that are taking you captive. For instance, fear is a huge one, and fear is a common one this year. Once you identify the emotions that you've been feeling, and even if you're having a hard time doing that, that's okay. I'm gonna go into that a little bit more later on. But try to reflect a little bit and decide what types of emotions are ruling you, what types of emotions are driving you and driving your decisions in your life. Are you making choices out of fear or love? Are you making choices out of anger or resentment? Are you making choices out of guilt or shame, etc.? And this is rather huge, because once you identify what is driving you in this life, like really like what motivations, what emotions motivate certain choices, you will begin to feel free. You will begin to feel that release of, wow, like this is something I've been holding inside, and I had no idea that it was influencing every area of my life and all my decisions and the actual outcomes of my life. And once you go through that mindset and that process, and this is in the beginning of becoming aware of, you know, yourself, your emotions, your feelings, your traumas, your pains, what's holding you back, you can then begin your healing journey, because awareness and acknowledgement of what you've gone through is honestly the first step. So I really am excited about creating a series and even eventually a program of how to overcome your pain, your traumas, and how to go about your healing journey. I'm very excited because it's something that I've taken seriously in my own life, and it's changed my life in so many ways, and it's made my life so much better and made me a better person and changed my outlook and perspective on life to a more purposeful and intentional one. And it's given me actual like joy and happiness and relief and freedom to feel what I feel and to go through what I go through without judgment. And I am human, so I do still have problems like overjudging myself and, you know, being critical of myself for what I'm feeling or what I'm going through when it's completely out of my control, etc. But that's okay. Like, this is a journey of grace. This is a journey of forgiveness of others, a journey of forgiveness of yourself, and a journey of healing. And you're gonna be faced with everything that you have been bearing. And it's exciting because you're actually like facing you. You're facing you for the first time, and it's the most beautiful journey you could ever decide to go on. And I just am excited to put together a series of videos in the upcoming months to be able to help each and every one of you go through your traumas, overcome your traumas, and be able to pursue your healing journey and be free to be you, because that's what it's all about. Like, each person is so unique and beautiful in their own ways, and you know, it's been so clouded and just not good. Everyone's been so far from their authenticity because they've shoved down and aside all of their pain and their suffering and their experiences of life, and no one's really changed that point of view. Like, no one's put a celebration of being able to celebrate your experiences, even if they've been horrific ones. But like, no one has ever approached trauma in this way of like a hope and faith aspect of, you know, let's move forward. Let's celebrate the fact that you are alive and living and experiencing all these different lessons of growth in so many different ways, and all these different lessons of healing. And I'm just so excited to start doing that for you and for myself. And I just hope that each one of you can be compassionate to others as well as yourself through this journey. And I'm excited to introduce this new series.